Too many people are trying to get into trading to make money, and if anyone who gets into trading to make money, they're getting in for the wrong reason. You should be in because you love the game.
Or getting into it to make money immediately. I think that, yes, make money long term, but immediately, that seems to be what I see sometimes among those who are very new. They're just thinking, oh, I could go in there and make money really fast.
Welcome back to the SteadyTrade podcast. It is me, Stephen Johnson, on a special episode with Kim and Curtin. And we've got a very, very, very poignant, relevant topic. And that is, when are you ready to start trading full time? And we're going to break this down as, it's not just like the basic, when do you think you're ready? It's when do you think you're ready spiritually, physically, mentally, consciously, and circumstantially. When are you
financially
ready? And most important, when are you ready financially to get into day trading full time? And of course, I've just recently transitioned. I think I started day trading full time in August, so September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April. Coming into a year full time day trading. Wow. How crazy is that? I'm still here. I'm still survived. I'm still doing it. There's been a couple of times when I've been like, oh, am I getting a job tomorrow? Am I going back to advertising? But
the crowd goes wild.
But yeah, I mean, things have been going all right. So I mean, we can reflect on some lessons, but I think just based on the podcast that we've just done, so I may as well pick up on it first. It's when circumstantially is someone, do you think, ready to trade full time? What's your answer? And I can say what mine was after.
Well, we were lucky enough to interview Michelle Wucker, and she talks about a risk fingerprint, that we each have a risk fingerprint or a risk profile. And I would say that I'm hesitant to answer that question, Stephen, because now I'm really conscious after reading her book, You Are What You Risk. I'm really conscious to the fact that what might be an appropriate ruler for me may not be an appropriate ruler for another listener or another trader.
Yeah, I mean, so the best way I can kind of qualify is from your own experiences is I would say when you financially or physically ready to trade, it should be. Tim Sykes always said it quite well. He says you should have made at least 100 grand. So you should have made at least 100 grand, or if you like single, you should have made at least 50 grand in the market to prove that you can do it. So you need to be able to constantly generate income. And a guy called Tango Baker, who I've actually had on the podcast before, He was saying you should have traded at least a full year. So you've seen the different market cycles within the year, and you should be able to trade through them all quite profitably. But the most important thing is to make sure you've got a couple of years of money behind you, because you don't know if something's going to go terribly wrong. You don't know if you're going to take a massive loss. And ideally, as Tim Bono says, it should transition. So it should be, there should be like, so for me, when I did it, I had savings, I had freelance work, I had good freelance contacts, and I was making money. So I thought, even though me trading was making more than a full-time salary, that didn't matter. That didn't come into concern. I still needed to have freelance that would at least equal a low full-time salary as well.
Yep. And also, Stephen, you just said around your own capabilities, making sure your own capabilities are ready for it. But I also want to say the financial aspect is so important, because what if it has nothing to do with your availability, your awareness and your experience, but the market? Like, the market may not be where you and your strengths, it may not deliver what you know how to do. We've heard for the last week or two, a lot of people are like, what the hell? So it isn't necessarily, even if you are 100% ready, what if the market changes? Are you prepared to handle and create revenue based on the way the market shows up?
Yeah, like I said, there's like a gifted few who can make it in all markets. Or there's a gifted few who can make so much money in some markets that they're like totally coasting. than the other markets. But yeah, I mean, look, this last month has been tough. It's been a little bit slow. November, December, January last year was, and coming into this year was extremely difficult as a short seller. The market was in a crazy long bubble. So absolutely, like I say, it's about really transitioning slowly, and and when you talk about kind of consciously when you're getting into the market, you've got to be consciously getting in for the right reasons. You've got to be not getting in to make the money. You've got to be getting in because you love the game. And if you love the game and it's just what you want to do 8 hours a day, and it's not related to the money, it's not related to getting rich quick schemes, stuff like that, then I'd say go for it. But too many people are trying to get into trading to make money. And if anyone who gets into trading to make money, they're getting in for the wrong reason. You should be in because you love the game.
Or getting into it to make money immediately. I think that, yes, make money long term, but immediately, that seems to be what I see sometimes among those who are very new. They're just thinking, oh, I could go in there and make money really fast. And that expectation. But I just want to circle back to something you said and ask you about that. You spoke to a slow transition. So tell us what that slow transition was for you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still picking up freelance advertising clients now. I mean, so for a lot of my months, it's like in terms of trading, I try and think of trading as bonus money. I try and think of it as like an extra hobby, which come in handy because when I took a bad loss last month, I just thought, look, you've just won some money and then you've give back some money and that's it. Like your actual freelance salary, your actual side business, that is all the regular income. Nothing's changed. So it didn't impact my life when I took the loss. And that's very important. And I think with trading, like with Dan Irish, brilliant trader, I love the guy. He for 4 years was not really making crazy money. I think on his third year, he managed to make about 80 grand, something like that. Don't quote us, I'm not 100%, but he didn't make a lot of money for the first couple of years. And then just over the last 12 months, he's probably made something like 700, 800,000. So like there are times where it will click, it will get lucrative and you'll take off, but it might take 4 years to get there. So you just need to transition. It's tough if you've got a full-time job and a full-time income, or it's tough if you sit behind a desk and your boss is behind you, but you've got to do it in stages. So like stage 1 is like trading when you can, when your boss is not looking, just getting the grips, getting the feel, reviewing it after and before, but it's true. And stage 2 is trying to drop that contract to part-time or trying to change those hours or getting in on the night shifts so you can see the market open, or switching shifts with someone if you're in wherever you are. So then you're getting some screen time, but you're not getting all of the screen time. And then the third phase is like, if everything hit the fan, I could probably rely on trading, but I do not want that to be the case. I want to side income, even if it's a bad salary, even if it's a low salary. I just need it there. So if I have to just live off that, it'll be a tight few months, but I'm fine. And obviously trading is going to boost it all the time, right? But you don't want to be relying on it. And then year 3, year 4, year 5 all going well, you'll have that major click in your game.
And how long did it take you once you started considering, when you were still working at that ad firm, when you started to consider going full-time to literally going full-time, how much time elapsed?
It was one of the hardest decisions of my life, if not the hardest. When you talk about the hardest decision in the risk fingerprint, that was mine. I remember I had a 10K a month in March and a 15K a month in April, and on that 15K a month, I'm like, that's it. Like, do you know what I mean? I'm like, I'm out. I didn't think I was gonna have 10 or 15K months every month, and I haven't. They were good, favorable market conditions for me, but that was when I decided I'm making this change. It was that April, or that March or in April, when I made the 10 and the 15. And I didn't actually leave till May, June, July, August. I didn't leave till 5 months later, because I give it another 5 months to make sure that this was going to be okay, that this was going to work for me. And even then I went part-time for a couple of months. And to be honest, in year 2 and year 3 of me trading, I'm in year 4 now, and I've actually like gone full-time, but with side incomes. But year 2 and year 3, I went part-time, me income. Trading didn't work. And then I went full-time again, because I was like, God, I've tried to cut down part-time salary. I thought I'd get trading by now. I didn't. I actually went back full-time and then went part-time again. And then.
But how wise of you to leave that door where, because of how you did it, you didn't put a hard stop on that. You gave it kind of like, you gave yourself a window that if you had to go back, you could. That I think was genius.
Well, I had a very good boss. I had the boss of the company. It was a small startup. We got bought out over 8 years. I was the main copywriting guy for the full 8 years. So I had a very good relationship with him. As much as it was funny because they used to be, I should never say this in case I ever need to get employed again, but whenever someone didn't show up for work in the morning, people would say they were taking a Steve day. And I was having a Steve day, and a Steve day was code word for out with pals, hungover, didn't show up the next morning, nobody heard from him. But do you know what it is though? If you show up and you deliver and you do a good job,
yeah,
the misgivings every 4 months, 5 months,
that's
6 months.
That's right.
You
can be human once in a while, as long as the other times you're solid.
Yeah, no, I was super solid, but when I was off track, I was super off track, but only for a day, and never when there was a pitch the next day.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's pretty powerful. So what do you think, so I love that you kept that window open and you started to see, okay, this consistency is not happening. I'm going to go back full time. What did you change about your trading in that interim before we get you to the going to it full time?
Well, I mean, the thing for me is year one, I didn't know what I was doing. Year two, I found out what to do, but my risk management was absolutely terrible. I'd have to risk $1,000 to make $100, stuff like that. And then when everything clicked, it was a lot of data tracking, a lot of like studying. I tracked like 400 different tickers, all with the same criteria. So I figured out one single pattern that worked. And I was just repeating that pattern over and over. And then now that I've had the chance to go full time, it's diversifying into all different patterns. So I think when you've got a full-time job and you don't have much time at the market, it's about just cracking kind of one pattern and just repeating it and making sure that you can make that money over and over and over to get yourself that extra time and flexibility to start venturing out, because you can only do what you can with the time that you've got. So
yes.
But yeah, just to sidestep, but one of the eureka moments for me was consciously as well, though. It's before you get, we discussed this, it was during a coach, and it was before you get into every trade, why are you getting into the trade? Are you getting into it because it feels good? Are you getting into it to make money, to boost the serotonin? Are you getting into it because it's a good risk reward trade? So you've got to have the mental maturity as well. And I still struggle with that sometimes. You've got to have the mental maturity to.
So you get back into the full-time position, you start to perhaps get more in tune to what that pattern is going to be for you. And then from that point until you decide to leave, what is that window? How long did that last for?
No, I think so. I mean, I was always trying to live this dream, and then I think from March and April, yeah, it was about 6 months. It's about 6 months. I thought when I started making the big months, like the 10 and the 15K months, that was when I was like, right, I can do this.
What clicked that here you go back full time, and then you go from an initial attempt back to full time, and then to a complete departure. What was it that clicked for you?
Do you know what it is? In some ways, I never really saw the clicks too much as they happened. I just saw me profit and loss. I was like, whoa, I'm making $400 a day here. Whoa, I'm making $600 a day here. But it was the data. Like I tracked all of the data, and the data told us this stock with this volume and this criteria, it's happened 50 times on your Excel. You've tracked 50 occurrences, and 47 of them all average this percentage of high a day from the open. So if it opens at 9, the high of day will be at 10, 10:30, and they'll all fail at this time of day, at this height, this percent increase. And when the data was staring us in the face, I was thinking, my mind I always get tricked by the market, the candles and the emotion. I always get tricked. But when I take the emotion out and I just look at the hard facts and the data and the statistics, they're actually telling me, don't do what your brain thinks. Do this. Don't chase here because the data says this. It says you need to get in here, so why would you get in there? So it eliminated greed, it eliminated the kind of worry and stress. It just gives the hard facts of what to do. And when I just followed the data that I tracked,
beautiful,
started making money. And then I started trading more size because I kept on making money. And I've never looked back. And sometimes I think I need to go back to the data because I don't follow it enough now.
That's interesting. So data tracking, it sounds like you're being really in a committed relationship to it. The data tracking is what made you see enough consistency, enough profitability to take that risk to walk away.
Yeah,
that now it became less risky for you because you were seeing the data.
Yeah, I think year 1 and year 2, it was learning what the market fundamentals were, what the criteria were, what pattern fitted my personality. And then I just thought this pattern just came to us. I was like, this is the one. This is the one. How do I trade it?
Yeah.
Because it was very common. It was every day. It was the pattern happened at 9:30, which was 5:30 in Dubai. And that was what time I finished work. So I could finish work, or like I was working, to be honest, but I could switch at the end of the day, go into a conference room every day and find it. So it was just the right pattern for the right time of my schedule. And it happened very probably. It's quite a risky pattern, which suits my style, suits my risk, personality. I was just like, holy shit, I found the answer. Like, holy shit, I've figured out a passageway in the stock market, or I've figured out how something works, and the data doesn't lie. And the rest of my time has just been trying to manage changes in the market, greed, getting over boredom, how to manage too much size, how to manage knock-on losses, all of these things that then the pattern doesn't show up for months. So what do you do? Like, it's all of these things I'm struggling with now.
Absolutely. What are some of the ways you're navigating the boredom or the over trading, physically? Because we talked just now a lot about kind of the concept of the risk and some of the choices around your position, but what about your health and how you're navigating, your own self-care?
Yeah, and I suppose that's a really important thing as well, because when you're not, like, advertising was like 12 hours a day, 13 hours a day, and then trading on top and studying was 4 or 5 hours a day. So it was like 15, 16-hour days a lot of the time. And you're with work people and friends and everyone wants to do stuff. So to go from that to coronavirus in the UK with the free time, it's in lockdown, you've all of a sudden, it flips on its head and you've got way more free time and way less. So, and you can kind of easily abuse that time. And I don't mean abuse in a terrible way of like being strung out on cocaine or something, like not like that. When I say like abuse time, I mean it's the ultimate gift, right? And you've worked for 3 or 4 years to get yourself in a fortunate position. So doing anything other than using your time properly would be abusing it, in my opinion. So for me, it's the 2 hours in the gym, like 2 hours working out, making sure your health, body and mind is very good, and the 30 minutes meditation and the 2 hours study, and then the 2 hours freelance and the 8 hours for the market. Like, that's how I try and chop up and structure the day.
And isn't surfing part of your exercise now?
Of course, yeah, and surfing as well, yeah. I've got a surfboard just around the corner, but my car broke down, so I haven't been going for a week, but...
What do you find about the surfing? Does that serve you as a trader? What is it teaching you as for your trading?
Look, I think it's the same lesson with everything. Obviously, surfing's nice and it's being with nature, and you get a real natural high from that. And I guess it's a good metaphor for when you have to wait for the wave to come, and if you take the wrong wave, you're just going to crash and burn. If you take half a wave, you're not going to get anywhere. You've got to just sit and be patient and wait for the right wave. And that's a good direct comparison. But ultimately, every lesson in life is the same. And I see with other people who are still making it in trading now, and it's just, you've just got to repetitively put the work in over, like, that's how life is. I always believe you just got to repeatedly put 2 to 3 hours a day in over a couple of years, and you should get what you want. No matter what it is, you should get what you want. I mean, unless you like don't have the genetics to pole vault and you're trying to pole vault, you know what I mean? But if it's something more like trading and you've got the right kind of mind for it, then you should get it. It's just consistent, repetitive reps. And it's the same in the gym, it's the same with SIF, and it's the same with trading.
Let's just talk nutrition. Do you find that your nutrition or consumption of anything else has changed? Do you feel you're seeing evidence of that having an
definitely,
impact?
because I'm not eating the crappy takeaways at work and stuffing my face with shishka and shish kebab and whatever the other Emirati and Arab dishes are. Not stuffing me faces with all that crazy food. Yeah, no, I mean, look, just eating light, eating health. Like, I'm just trying to live my best life. I think I think it took us a while to learn it, but eating well, exercising frequently, doing things that make you happy, those have a compound effect. And this Wim Hof kind of says it. I don't know if anyone said this before, but I really believe in compounding good things. Like, I love compounding things that make you feel good. Like, I know a lot of people compound drugs. I know if you've got like an illness or you're depressed, they'll try and compound you on different antidepressives. Like, I mean, I strongly believe, I've been through a lot of different things, and I strongly believe that the best way to happiness is just compounding good habits. That's the way. It's not, for me, it's not drugs. And I used to be one of those people that were like, you need drugs. And I'm sure there are some people that do need drugs. But for me, it's compounding habits that make you happy repetitively over time.
Is that Atomic Habits? Is that from the Atomic Habits book?
I haven't heard of it, but it's probably the same. It might be the same thing.
Where I thought he spoke to that in that book about, the repetition of those habits have this cumulative effect. Okay, we talked a little bit about, and financially, let's just talk just about your ability or willingness to walk away from a full-time job. What's the context of your financial, cushion? Like, do you feel that also informed your comfort or willingness or risk?
Everyone's different, right? So like, some people have got parents that can help them. Like, I never really had that. My parents were like, had enough to get by and not enough to give. A lot of people have got rich parents, rich family members. I didn't have any of that, but so it's so circumstantial and so individual. It's hard to say, but if you're gonna do it, you need to make sure you've got another job, or at least enough to live another year or another 2 years, right? You need to have at least enough money that your spending habits are good for a year.
Yeah, especially if you have responsibilities to other people, you're single, you're able to be it's going to impact only you, not other people, if you succeed or not,
Yeah, but I mean, I nearly didn't even do it, and there was a lot of times I fell flat. But best advice my brother ever gave us was always fall forward, never fall backwards. Always fall forward, never.
Nice.
And if you've managed to have this level of success, which isn't crazy success compared to other people, I haven't done that much, to be honest. But if you've managed to get where you are now, working 20% capacity, imagine where you could be working 100% capacity.
Yeah.
And that was one of the shaping quotes that made us leave my job. But to kind of go full circle on it, it's you've got to, the most important thing is making money for a 12-month cycle. You've got to be consistently profitable for a straight year. After you've done that, as long as you've got money in the bank to survive a year or a freelance gig, or you can go part-time, then do it. Like, that's the simple answer. You don't need to watch the full podcast. Like, that's the 4-minute answer. Do you know what I mean?
But we want you to watch the full podcast.
You can watch the full podcast, but like, that's the 4-minute answer. It's not even 4 minutes. It's like 40 seconds.
40-second answer. All right. The other piece that you spoke to was the spiritual aspect. Tell us more what you meant by that and what that means for you personally.
I mean, in terms of spirituality, it's I don't think you have to be spiritual, but I don't know. I guess you're just doing it for the right reason, right? I think it's good to be spiritually in the right place, because a lot of traders, they've got a lot of free time. It's easy to be disruptive. So it's just good to be in the right frame of mind and investing your time in the right way. But I mean, spiritually, there's a lot of good traders who are probably like not spiritual at all. So maybe for that one, it's not exactly
well, for you,
but I
This is
certainly
your
like to,
experience.
yeah, no,
Tell
like,
us what does that mean for you to be spiritual? You speak to meditation. We've had lots of conversations about consciousness. You've talked about experiences that you've had, even when, you know, there was a hallucinogenic involved, where you found yourself in an altered state, you know, on a spiritual level. So what does it mean to you, Stephen?
no, I mean, I just think, I suppose the big picture in life of why you're doing what you're doing and what you want to achieve is always very important. Again, like mixing spirituality and trading, it's my mind's changed so much over the years, but the end place where I've come to spiritually is that, and how I strongly feel is that the universe is huge. It's a gift from someone we don't know who, and we've just got to honor it, live it, and I'll never forget. I always question the point of life. I was like, what's the point? What's the point in this? Like, it was a recurring thought. What's the point in life? It came to us as just like, it's just to live it and see it and breathe it and have and experience every part of it. And then my mind kind of went in peace, but ever since then. And I was like, all right, that's my mission. And that's where day trading comes in. It's the enabler to live, see, breathe, think, feel, and do every experience around the world. And you have to do it. As soon as this corona lifts, I'm out. As long as everything's going well in August, September, I'll be traveling and trading for good 6 months, 8 months, see some countries.
Beautiful, beautiful.
That's the life you can have.
It's pretty awesome. So if you were talking to your 4-year younger self, you 4 years ago, what would your advice to you back then be?
It's a good question. And I know there's a players tribunal, and sometimes they interview basketballers and say, like, speak to your former self like 10 years ago and see what they say. My advice would be, you're doing the exact right thing. You're doing the perfect thing. It's tough. You're facing adversity. You've lost some pals and stuff like that. You don't have as many friends as you once might have had, and you've got to give up situations. But what happened with me is, I felt like I couldn't enjoy being with friends because I knew that what I wanted to do for myself was more important for this time. And I'd only have to give up a couple of years, and I'd have something bigger and better in the long term. So the advice is just, I would have probably said, keep doing what you're doing and probably do even more. Keep studying, but do even more studying than you already did. Like, because once that time's done, it's over. You know, like when you put all the reps in at the gym, or you go on you do the training for the run. Once it's over, it's over. You've done it. In just 1 or 2 hard years working can set your life up for the next 20. People don't realize, like, the world's pretty lazy. Like, you only have to work hard for a couple of years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. And that cushion is like for the rest of your life. And you've experienced that as well, right? You worked hard in Wall Street. Now you're living in Hawaii, you're living the aloha, the chilled out life.
Not completely chilled out.
But you're doing what you love, and you've got no one to answer to. Do you know what I mean?
Correct. I'm doing what I love, for sure. And I'm also in a place, but that was also a choice, like for my spirituality and some for my intellect. I knew I needed to get out of that kind of driving, go green energy of, you know, have to, must, everybody working. It was costing me in ways that I was like, I don't think I want to keep paying that cost. But I don't know if I ever would have noticed that if I didn't get interrupted, right? The interruption was the call to write the book, and the book and my needing to have quiet to write that book is what got me to Hawaii. And that was just temporary. It was just going to be a temporary house sitting gig that when I was done with the book, go back. But I saw myself shift here. So it was like, do I want to go back to the way it used to be? Or do I want to maybe continue? So that was unexpected, very unexpected.
Yeah, but the one, I mean, I think it's probably good to leave it on this because it's a good quote, but one very poignant quote, and the best quote I've ever heard, by Steve Jobs, one of the greatest minds. And he said it in a Stanford address. He said, you'll never be able to connect the dots of your life looking forward. Lots of things are going to happen. You're just going to have to go on your gut. You're just going to have to go on your intuition. He didn't mention value system, but if your focus is on the right direction and you're following your heart, you'll connect the dots looking back, but you'll never connect the dots looking forward. But it'll always work out as long as your drive and your focus is in the right place. And he referred to things like when he was in whatever the college was that he was at or whatever, he took a typography class, and then that typography class created the first font on the Mac.
That creativity that really spoke to him.
Yeah. So my advice to people is, if you've got that burning ball of energy and that burning ball of focus and drive, say, first of all, pat yourself on the back and say congratulations, because you've got a gift that 99% of people don't have. Like that burning desire of, I know what I want in life, like I know what my purpose is, and I'm doing this to get it, and I've got relentless energy to get it. That's something that very, very, very few people have. Most of the population don't. So first of all, it's like, congratulations, you've got something, you've got a special thing there.
Yes.
And the second thing is, go full throttle. That's what I would say. Just go full throttle, and obviously don't be too hard on yourself. I know that comes up, but go as hard as you can where it's comfortable. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. The other thing too that I've learned from Michelle Hooker, you are what you risk, is that she spoke to that very concept that if we feel really called to do something, as you feel for trading, as I have felt for coaching, right? It isn't actually as risky as it would be if you didn't have that call. That also was eye-opening for me, that there are times when that level of calling that actually mitigates the risk because we are so passionate about it. So that also, I think, is really powerful for people who potentially have the outsiders saying to them, oh, what you're doing is so risky. I love the fact that your parents supported you and said,
took some time.
Actually, this is, it took some time,
but when absolutely, the results,
appropriately so. Yeah, but once they saw the results, they had your back, and they were like, hey, what happens if you do give this 100% of your time? What changes? And but that you helped contribute to their perspective shift. Your passion, your dedication, you over day in, day out, even in the midst of losses, even in the midst of things that you struggled with admitting to yourself or publicly about losses, like you kept staying committed. And that had to mitigate their concern around riskiness because they saw how unstoppable you were. And
I agree. I mean, I'd say, and it leads back to the interview that we've just done, but it's not risky if you may. Like for me, I'm like, you might say it's risky, but if you may, it's not risky. And for you, maybe quitting Wall Street to life coach, it's for you, it's not risky. And if you're Alex Honnold, the crazy free climbing mountain climber, he'll say, look, I climbed El Capo without a harness, and it was how many feet high? And say, might be risky if you do it, might be life-threatening if you do it, but if I do it, I've gone through those motions and those reps 10,000 million times. It's not very risky. I've got more chance of being hit by lightning or by a million other safer things.
Yeah. So maybe that's the measurement, right? Ultimately, what you're sharing with those who are, beginner traders, like what you're giving them evidence of a template to perhaps consider for themselves.
And I would do that, yeah, and that's what it is. It's, I think what we've given today is some guidance, and like I say, for everyone it's different, and if you're doing something stupid or you're doing something safe. But if you're 18 and you're living at home, then that template is very, very different than my template, and my template is very, very different to someone who's got 2 kids. Like, you know what I mean?
For sure.
So it's hard to qualify, but
how old you are, responsibilities, financial commitments, all of these things. And that's one of the reasons which drew me into you guys in the first place. I was always so impressed with everyone from Tim Sykes to Tim Bowen to you, to everybody here, the willingness and honesty of how the mindset and the expectations have to be, really measured. I'm honored to be affiliated with all of you because nobody here is promising inappropriate things. That you guys are all cautioning everybody, saying, look, if you're coming here with this mentality, I see Tim Sykes's, tweets all the time. And he's like, look, this is not, you're not going to find it here. So be sure that's not what you're coming for. I think that's such an important message. And I really just hope that the listeners listen to it. Like that's your story too, Stephen, is it's a cautionary and inspiring tale.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And thank God I put the whole thing on YouTube. It was a good idea.
It was a brilliant
good idea.
That was brilliant. I'm just so that just shows how innovative and big picture thinking I think you are and have probably always been, and what's serving your trading. So well done, man.
So let's keep it up. And I guess if anyone wants to hit any questions in the comment box, or leave their situations, then I can we can take a look at the comments. We can send some replies, and I know it's a very individual situation. Yeah. So if anyone wants to write any questions, then I can for sure jump in. I always look at them anyway, so I can jump in and answer anything there.
That sounds awesome. This is a great episode. I think you probably gave a lot of clarity to people who have been probably asking themselves, is it time to go full-time into trading? Yeah. Or when is that time? Or is that time even in the realm of possibility for me? I think you spoke to a lot of variables. So yeah, I'd be curious to see what people say about it.
That's cool. And thanks for the great questions as well. So we'll end it on a serious note, but thank you very much. Thank you everyone for listening to the SteadyTrade podcast. We've covered a good topic in good detail here. And as I say, I look forward to reading the comments, and thank you, Kim, and I guess thank you, Stephen, if I say that.